Welcome to the Patriarchy, a paradise for all men and women on this glorious planet. Men, you are allowed to do as you please for the most part, as are your women. But there are a few conditions for you young ladies of God in this little paradise of ours. 1. You cannot dress how you like. The men will look upon their ancestry, and the highest and most influential of them will pick a look that you and others must follow on pain of some wacky punishments, but it's only to put you in line with others and in the line with God. Now, you cannot drive yourself around, but fear not. Think of it as having your own personal driver, and that every woman is honoured to be driven around everywhere by a good, upstanding man. Of course, if he so chooses to entertain your wishes, of course. If you are going to purchase or sell property, you must bring your closest 2 males to testify that you are who you say you are and that you are worthy and they must vouch for you. And then, of course, you must bring 4 other men to testify for them and their quality of person and that they actually know you. After all, we can't allow fraudsters to walk around owning property. If you want to work, then yet again you must have no fears, my dear. We are a proud country, and we love to boast that in the last 21 years, between 1990 and 2011, our workforce went from 15.3% female to 18.6%, and now that is freedom of employment, and equality on par with no other. However, your male guardian will need to give permission, and this job may not interfere with your obligations to your home and to your family, as well as your husband. You are free to drive, though, as long as you never get caught by an upstanding and socially responsible male. After all, more women drivers mean more traffic, and young men will be less able to enjoy the road. If you plan to drive around in protest to these rules, as others have done before you, we will not only arrest you and make your male guardians swear to never let you drive again, we shall also publicly shame you and your family, and you shall be labelled a whore. After all, we must keep a strong collectivism in order to make this paradise truly special. We can't allow free will for those of such lesser worth. You must understand, for the greater good, you must sacrifice some freedoms. We strongly promote true love, though, and although we do not specify the minimum age of marriage, we do often allow the marriage of girls as low as 9, and the men around the age of 15. After all, responsible and upstanding young men are entitled to grow up being well looked after, both mentally at home and sexually, by the love of a woman that knows her place by his side. Right, if you got through this and you're still clutching at the opportunity that I'm being batshit crazy and just taking the piss here, then obviously I'm sure most of you will know what country I'm talking about. We all hear, oh, but in this country it's shit, oh, in this country it's shit. And people always go, yeah, but in the West, yeah. Or fucking, yeah, but in other countries around it, yeah. And they rarely go, well, that's shit, maybe we should do something. But obviously it's Saudi Arabia, fuck's sake. Yeah, this was just a little piss take video. I was hoping, as I read this shit out, people who didn't know about it would be like, what kind of shit hellhole is he describing, and why the fuck would anyone want to make this and call it a paradise? And then I was hoping by the end, when you realised it was Saudi Arabia, that is a real country, a very big country, a very rich country, and shockingly a very influential country when it comes to Europe and the United States, as well as other Middle Eastern countries, that you'd kind of realise that it treats half of the population so shit, and yet very rarely are they brought up on it, especially by those in the West that have the power to do so. I mean, we criticise them, but only rarely ever when it comes onto the topic. I mean, anti-feminists only bring up Saudi Arabia's shit treatment of women when they're bashing feminists, and feminists only bring up Saudi Arabia when they say this is why we need feminism. But that's the thing, we can't do shit about it. Even if we are well-intentioned, even if we bring it up when we're not talking to a feminist or other anti-feminists, we can't do anything. Our governments can't force them to change. It's the hands of the people. If they truly wanted it, then as horrible as it is, they need to rebel. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of lives lost, and it's a lot of hurt and conflict, and just more in the Middle East. But fucking, if they stay how they are, nothing will change. Those in power, they're not gonna just fucking roll over the laws. So when you think of Saudi Arabia, don't just think of it as a case to use against feminists for how they're not really oppressed in the West. I mean, they're not, but just remember it's a real place. And these people do have to live this way. And I'm sure not all of the men enjoy it. And I'm sure fucking the overwhelming majority of the women don't enjoy it. But those that do and accept it, they're not bad people. It's just the way they were raised and the culture that surrounds them. It's just like if a man or a woman in the West is brought up and thinks, right, I want to work and the wife can stay at home and look after the kids and clean. I mean, some people in the West will say, well, that's horrible, give her choice. And I'm sure if they got married, the woman would be like, right, I want to work. The man would be like, okay then, we'll compromise. Of course you can. But that initial vision, it's not horrible. It's just how we see the tradition. It's the same for them. They're not inherently evil for abiding to it en masse. It's just the way they were raised. And if there's any feminists out there watching this still, after my little tirade of fake enjoyment, just remember, no matter how much shit you get on the internet, no matter if people threaten to dox you, if people call you bad names, horrible names, grow a spine, because there are those out there that have it far, far worse than you. And it's not just in Saudi Arabia, but they are by far the most responsible, I think. With their status of wealth and power, they should be leading an example in the Middle East. Well, a better example. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on a rather sad note. This last tirade was unscripted, but it just kind of it feels like it should be said. I don't think people pay enough attention to the countries that aren't in civil war in the Middle East, but are still absolute hellholes. I'll catch you later, fuckers.